Hey everyone, Rob here from Gunfather Milsim, and today I'm bringing you part 2 of the CQB video. Bringing it to you from my kids' playroom because it's got one of the few center-fed rooms in my house that I can really demonstrate what I'm talking about on. You can't see it right now, but I'm about knee-deep in Legos and Barbies and whatnot. But due to the magic of perspective, it looks like a pristine environment. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, go watch it. Otherwise, a lot of this isn't going to make any sense. Part 1, I did it all on a marker board, which is great for selling concepts, but for fine-tuning, it doesn't really work that well. Today, I'm just going to show you some of the fine-tuning parts of the technique that'll help you kind of do your CQB safer and get hit less often, which is the goal. Understand you can do everything perfectly correct in CQB and still get hit, still die. The goal is to get hit less often. All right. So obviously, this is in reality, this is a closet. We're going to pretend like it's a center-fed room. It's going to work for those purposes. First thing we're going to go over is narrow approach. So this is my room. I'm going to clear this room. I do not want to stand out way out here as I approach the room, or people inside the room are going to be able to see me and shoot me, as I covered in the last video. I want to approach from a narrow angle, a shallow angle along the wall here. All right. I'm going to switch sides because it's going to make more sense over here. So here, off camera, is my narrow approach. All right. Now the first thing I'm going to do, as I approach the room, I'm going to face my cover. I'm going to face the thing I'm clearing around. Whether they call it, toes to cover, buckle to cover, facing to cover, whatever. I don't want to put my back to it like this and try to clear around like this. That's not going to work. It's going to be counterintuitive. It's going to be very difficult on my back to do that. I want to face my cover. Now as I approach, I can look in the room as much as possible and clear that hard corner. I can clear 90% of that corner without ever actually putting my head in there. Okay? So that's my hard corner. It's 90% clear. Then I'm going to slowly work my way around here, taking little bites of the room and clearing until I get to here. Now obviously I'm standing in the dreaded fatal funnel. Fatal funnel works both ways. I've already cleared all this. It's okay for me to stand here. Alright? Last step is going to be clear this last little bit here. And for that, I'm just going to peek in and attack that corner and just clear it real quick. Now, ideally I don't step into the room ever. I don't cross this threshold. But when I do that, attack of that last little corner, if I drop in like that and my foot exposes into the room a little bit, it's not the worst thing in the world. All right? Ideally, you don't do it, but it is what it is. Little notes on this clearing section. What I'm trying to do is keep this elbow tucked in and do what they call a knee knock. My knee's going to cant in and I'm going to lean over. So I'm talking about CQB. Using cover is all about knees and elbows. Tuck that elbow, weld it to your body, bend your knee slightly in. I'm going to lean over at the back. I'm going to take a little step, lean, little step, lean. And that's how I'm going to maximize the use of that cover, my vertical pivot point, while I'm working around and I'm clearing that room. And understand that technique can be used on any vertical piece of cover. I don't care if it's a section of wall, the end of a hallway, a door frame, a car, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. Tuck the elbow in, weld in the knee, and then lean over at your back. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. It should be uncomfortable, especially when you're wearing armor and stuff, because you're putting a lot of strain on your lower back. If it feels uncomfortable, you're probably doing it right. If it feels nice and natural, you should probably be leaning over a little bit more. So the whole thing looks like this. On my dominant side, once again, clear as much of that hard corner as I can. Clearing, clearing, clearing. Little bites. Clear that final corner. Okay, real basic. Now in a corner-fed room, which most rooms are, I'm going to figure out real quick what's going on. Let's say there's a wall here. Okay, I'm going to figure out at this point, okay, it's a corner-fed room, and that's going to cut down the amount of work I got to do significantly. I'm just going to go straight to here, so I don't really have to worry about anything on this other side. Let's say it's a corner-fed the other way. Okay, so my wall's here, and the room extends this way. I'm approaching from this side. Okay, once again, I'm going to clear 90% of it from outside if I can because I have a narrow approach. I'm going to pie. Once I get to here, I'm going to see this wall extends to the length of the room. I'm going to know it's a corner fed. So all I got left is that little 10% of that corner that I couldn't quite get from my narrow approach. All I'm going to do is switch my feet, and I'm going to attack the corner just like I did this way, except I'm this way this time. And attack the corner. So that just leaves, you know, how we clear a genuine center fed room. I'm going to demo it real quick. This is a technique I use. There's lots of different ways to do it. This would be in a one-man scenario, which in Airsoft most of the time you're going to be by yourself, or there's going to be other guys holding along or whatever. But it's going to look like this. I'm going to start from my narrow approach here. So I'm going to clear 90% from outside. I'm going to clear around. I'm going to snap and attack this corner and then back out because there's a 10% back here that I haven't cleared yet. To get that 10%, I'm going to switch my feet, turn around, snap it, and back out. Or snap it and go in if there's nothing there and clear all the hard areas in the room. Okay, from the other side it's going to look like this. So once again, clearing a center fed room, clear 90% from my narrow approach, 90% of that hard corner, moving up, got some toys in the way, moving up, slowly clearing all the way around, get to here and I'm going to snap that corner and out, switch my feet, once again I get that last 10% corner over here, clear that corner, and I'm done. Alright, that's how we're going to clear that threshold. The tricky part is how you clear to your non-dominant side. And by that I'm right-handed, at least I use a weapon right-handed. And I want to clear to my left. Naturally that's how my body wants to do it. I do not want to clear to my right. That's when it gets real awkward. That's your weak side. Okay, so I'm going to show you some techniques to kind of help with that. None of them are perfect. All of them are a little bit of a give and take. You decide what you want to do. Before we get too far into this, yes, I know it looks funny when I hold my weapon like this. These techniques will work whether you hold like this, hold like this, hold like this, hold like this. I don't care how you hold your gun. Okay, I want you to concentrate on the techniques I'm showing you. If it's really critical that you be super accurate and at CQB distances like 10 feet, cool, do it. All right, but this works better for what I do. Moving on. So how do we clear from our non-dominant side? What's the best way to do it? I think I'm going to try to change the camera angle a little bit so it looks a little bit more natural here. So now I'm going to be clearing this way, clearing towards my non-dominant side. I can just maintain my same shoulder weld with my stock, hands are the same, everything's the same, and I just lean out farther to clear that corner. The problem with this is to lean out this far, I'm exposing a lot of my shoulder and I really got to use up kind of a lot of space to make this happen. I can't get really close with this, it's real hard on my back. Alright, and any hits I take, it's hard to get back in quickly, and if I do get hit, I'm probably dropping down into the room. That's bad. So I'm giving up a lot. But plus size, I'm using the same eye for shooting out of, my dominant right eye, same hand, it's on the weapon. Everything else is basically the same, so any reloads or malfunctions or anything I do, it's going to be very natural. Alright, but that leaning way over there is very unnatural, and I'm exposing a lot of my left shoulder. So option number two, one that I kind of prefer for a variety of reasons, but it does have its drawbacks, is called off-shoulder attack. Where basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stock and I'll switch it either to my opposite shoulder or even off my shoulder all the way, and I'm just going to lean out. Okay, now this is nice because it maximizes this use of cover and I expose very little of my body. I'm not exposing the shoulder like I was with the last technique. The drawbacks with it is unnatural. Okay, it does take some practice. I'm using my other eye, okay, to look at my red dots, use my red dot, and stuff like safety manipulation is going to be difficult if you look close. Once I bring the shoulder over here, my thumb can no longer reach that safety. So you got to kind of come up with some personal SOPs for that if you're going to use this technique. If it's airsoft and you never use your safety anyway, who gives a shit? Real world, you always use your safety. You know, maybe you gotta tell yourself, every time I do off-shoulder attack, I'm gonna flip my safety off before I do that. Maybe that compromise is a no-go for you. Maybe that's just something you're not gonna be able to deal with. That's up to you. I get it. There's a lot of legitimate criticisms of that technique. What is nice about it is it really maximizes your use of cover, and you're still using your same hand, same trigger finger, same everything when you're shooting. It's just on the opposite shoulder. Probably not the best for really long range shots, but short range, which CQB is, it's great. Last option is switching hands. This is just, you know, a classic. I'm going to go from here, and I'm going to go here. There we go. Now I'm on my other side. So now I'm just, everything's as it would be on my dominant side. I'm just using my non-dominant hands. A couple problems with this one. One, you're using your non-dominant side, so everything feels awkward and backwards. Okay. Also, in that moment when you switch, is inevitably when someone pops out, and that's the moment you're not going to have a finger on the trigger, and then you're going to need one. Whereas with the off-shoulder attack, no matter where I'm at in this process, there's always at least a finger near a trigger that can fire. However, switching sides, it does, you know, it does maximize use of cover. But all your reloads and your malfunctions and everything else are going to be backwards now. Also, manipulating the safety going to be a problem on that other side. For me, I just use my trigger finger to manipulate that safety, and then everything else works out the same. Now, is that awkward? Yes, absolutely. Does it take a lot of practice and training? Yes, it does. Getting that so you can do it well and consistent and make it smooth takes a lot of work. I've never been a big fan of offhand shooting in a CQB perspective to handle those weak side corners. It's something I used to just discount out of hand and say, hey, you know, under pressure you're not going to do it anyway. But you know, there's guys that can train themselves to do really difficult tasks under pressure. So maybe I'm wrong about that one. And recent months I've been playing with it a little bit, training it, trying to train it up, trying to make it smoother. Don't know if I'm ever gonna, you know, do it in a real world situation. In Airsoft, I've tried it a couple times, and it always feels awkward. You know, maybe I'll train with it enough so it gets natural, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna discount it out of hand. For me, for my purposes, off-shoulder attacks the way I do things right now. But you know, if you like switching hands, cool, switch hands. If you like being more traditional and just leaning out really far, I have no qualms with that either. Okay, so now we've covered weak side clearing. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about exigency. Okay, and exigency is what's going to dictate the speed at which we're going to clear these rooms. We're going to do our pieing. Now, real world, there's two things we're trying to balance here: speed and safety. Okay, and the slower we go, the safer we can be, to an extreme, to the point where, you know, we can clear a structure, we can clear this room, you know, using robots and mirrors and crap, and it'll be incredibly safe, and it's going to be incredibly slow, and like it's going to take a really long time. Now that isn't really realistic for an airsoft context, but it does get the point across. But sometimes we don't have time. Real world things like hostages in the room, destruction of evidence potential, people, you know, destroying hard drives by hitting a button. Those things can create exigency in which we're not going to take as much time to clear this room, because our goal is to get in the room quickly, and we're going to give up a lot of our safety and security in exchange for speed. Okay, so exigency from an airsoft context, the way it's usually going to come up is the place I'm at, the hallway, the outside of this room, is no longer a safe place for whatever reason. So I'm out here in the hall, there's a long hall or whatever, I'm trying to clear this room as carefully as I can, and all of a sudden I start taking rounds from down the hallway. All of a sudden this is no longer a safe place, and I got to get in that room quickly, because that, as far as we know, is safer than out here. So I'm here, oh crap, I'm taking rounds, I got to speed up and go in. Now you saw I just cleared that room in like 2 big bites. Boom, boom, get in there because it's no longer safe to be out here. However, that speed, taking those big bites of that room and observing all that stuff at once is not safe. I lose a lot of my security in exchange for that speed. Now, let's say the area that I'm in here, I know is safe. It's perfectly safe. And we control all this stuff. And I know for a fact there's a bad guy in here because he's been bucking rounds out at different people at different angles. Therefore, in that situation, it's really important for me to go really slow, give up all my speed, and take really, really small bites of that pie. So hopefully I can see his elbow or his leg before I see his whole body. And I'm going to go real slow. It's going to look something like this. I'm here. I'm going to go slow. And now because I know there's a bad guy in there for a fact, I'm going to do my off-shoulder attack. I'm just going to do little bites. Okay? So those nice little bites, although it takes a lot longer to clear this vertical pivot point, it's a lot safer. And those little bites give me time to really process every little bit of that room that I'm seeing. Obviously I give up a lot of speed, but I gain a lot of security. All right, clear as mud. Now, last thing I want to cover, I want to move the camera to do it, is a little bit on footwork. We're going to try this here. You're going to probably see some toys. All right. Okay, so here's a little bit of footwork you guys have been unable to see due to the camera perspective. So here's my vertical pivot point here. Watch my front foot. Watch my footwork on this. I want my front foot, as I take my little steps and lean over, step and lean over, to always point towards, more toys, my vertical pivot point here. All right? That's the key. Always point this lead foot towards that vertical pivot point. What I don't want to do is take weird steps like this, because then it gets really awkward to turn, or this. Always, if you point your toe towards that vertical pivot point, everything's going to work out fine. Especially when I switch my feet here, vertical pivot point. Okay, always point that toe towards the vertical pivot point, and your life's going to work out much better. All right, everyone, that's all I got for part 2 of CQB. I hope you found it informative and helpful, some of the demonstrating and whatnot here. Back in the day, a couple of years ago, I made a different video on using cover. If you look back in the channel, I'll probably put a link to it at the bottom of this video, in which I kind of more thoroughly explain tucking the elbow and tucking the knee and maximizing use of cover. You might find that one helpful. It's a longer explanation than what I did here, but it's essentially the same. Part 3 I'm going to do coming up here in a while. I'm basically going to cover things like OODA loops and whatnot. It's a little more complicated, but once you understand it, it'll give you some huge advantages as far as your actual gameplay goes. So thanks for watching.